Emmy Awards have some highs with the winners and some lows with the ratings. Brendan Fraser's big comeback story continues. Plus, we got the world premieres of The Fabelmans and Glass Onion.
It's all coming up right now on The Take. Hey everyone, and welcome to The Take. I'm Elizabeth Wagmeister.
And I'm Clayton Davis, and we're here to give you our take on some of the week's biggest stories. And we are together again.
We are together again. Welcome back to LA, Clayton. You have been everywhere. You were at Telluride, then you were at Toronto. We are going to get all the scoop from the festival scene. You really covered everything, and I can't wait to hear about what you saw. But while you were in Canada, the Emmys were going on here in LA. So first, let's talk about that. White Lotus from HBO was the big winner of the night with 10 Emmy Awards. Also winning big in the major categories were Ted Lasso from Apple TV Plus and Succession from HBO. HBO led for networks with the most wins, and there's a lot to talk about. So let's dive right into it because it's not all fun and games as usual. There is some controversy, and for starters, we've got to talk about the ratings or lack thereof. This was a record low. Viewership was 25% down. 5.9 million viewers tuned in live on Monday night compared to last year on CBS with 7.9 million live viewers. So 2 million less this year on NBC. But viewership aside, because it's no secret, viewership is down for all award shows across the board. I really liked the show. I thought it was a good show. I thought that Keenan was a great host. And I think that the speeches from the winners were one of the best parts of the show and probably one of the reasons that I enjoyed it so much. What did you think?
So the speeches were good because they had that ticker that went at the bottom when it wasn't cut off, because it's halfway cut off for a lot of us here. I thought as a show production, it was one of the lesser Emmy ceremonies that I have seen over the last few years. It didn't feel celebratory. There was something that just seemed to be off. And while we had some amazing moments like a Shirley Ralph taking that stage and changing my life, there were also some things that they did do right, like the pacing of the show. 25 categories, we flew through those.
Yes.
Take note, Oscar. You can go through 25 categories in record pace and let it feel like people were getting their moment to shine on stage. That was the thing that I think they did the best. But Keenan, with him hosting, he was great when he was hosting. I felt like he disappeared halfway through the ceremony.
We definitely needed more of him. And I think that there's so much love for Keenan and so much goodwill for him in the industry, but also among audiences. Because as he said on stage, he's been in our living rooms for 30 years, which when you think about that, it's pretty crazy. He's the longest tenured cast member on SNL in the show's 40-plus year history. He's obviously done so much, but I agree with you. We could have had more with him. I also did like the pacing. I think, to your point, the Oscars don't need to be 3.5 hours, but don't cut off Jennifer Coolidge. I love that she saved it with that dance number, but you don't need to cut her off. But let's talk about the big controversy of the night that everybody seems to be talking about. So this week, Quinta Brunson is on our cover. It is a beautiful cover by our friend and colleague, Mike Schneider. Now, in the piece, of course, it is to celebrate her amazing historical win. She's only the second Black woman to win for comedy writing after Lena Waithe. And by the way, Shirley Ralph also only the second Black woman in her category. So both making history there. Quinta was nominated for 3 awards, already made history when she even walked into the Emmys. But it seems like what everyone's talking about is not her celebration, but Jimmy Kimmel, who was lying on the floor for a comedy bit, didn't quite land. A lot of people thought it was offensive. Quinta was on his show. He apologized. What do you make of all this?
Listen, simply put, Jimmy Kimmel apologized to Quinta on his show, and that's exactly what we want to see. He didn't decry the end of comedy. He didn't call this attack of woke culture. He listened to the feedback, apologized to her, and that's 90% of the time can fix any problem. So thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, world. And then we move on from it.
Yes, and she said herself that he was one of the early supporters.
Yeah.
They seem to be good friends, so hopefully water under the bridge, but also as Quinta said in our cover, she understands why people are upset and standing up for her.
Absolutely, but we had some great celebration over in Toronto because the Renaissance continues. Brendan Fraser took the stage, getting a tribute from the Toronto Film Festival, receiving a performance award for his work in Darren Aronofsky's The Whale, which had its North American premiere. Everyone seemed to love it and love his performance. Once again, getting tearful, taking the stage, talking about his career. They did a whole montage of his most memorable roles, which include The Mummy, Gods and Monsters, Bedazzled. They visited our studio at Toronto, along with Sadie Sink, who's incredible in the movie, along with Ty Simpkins.
All grown up, by the way, like Max no more.
I mean, listen, Ty Simpkins, who we know from Jurassic World, he's like an adult now. So like a lot of those became surprising. Darren Aronofsky has done very well throughout his career. Mickey Rourke got his resurrection under the thumb of Aronofsky. To a lesser extent, maybe even Hugh Jackman was shown that he could really act when he did The Fountain. He got Natalie Portman an Oscar for Black Swan. He does a lot of magic, but Brendan Fraser, the popularity, the love for him, it is pulsating through this industry right now. And he's a guy that you want to root for, and I think we're going to continue to root for him all season long.
Yes, and there were many videos of Brendan Fraser at both premieres because it was at Toronto and also at Venice, and he was crying with a standing ovation. There was a video that went viral from our co-editor-in-chief, Ramin Satude. Everybody loves it, including The Rock, by the way, who gave him a shout out and said, "You basically gave me my start as an actor. When I was a wrestler, you welcomed me with open arms onto the set of The Mummy." So I agree with you. You know, we're talking about goodwill before for Keenan. There's also so much goodwill for Brendan, and I think that he's always been beloved in this industry, and people are really excited to see him back in a big way. And you wrote a piece that you're saying the hype is real. Believe the Oscar buzz.
Yeah, watch out for the Best Actor race. It's going to be a cutthroat category with Hugh Jackman, Colin Farrell, all of them in contention. But we also had other big world premieres at TIFF, which included Steven Spielberg's The Fabelmans. The personal story of his childhood and his love for cinema had its world premiere at the Toronto Film Festival. Alongside that, also, Rian Johnson's hotly anticipated sequel to Knives Out called Glass Onion features an all-star cast which includes Janelle Monáe, Edward Norton, and of course, Daniel Craig returning to the role as Benoit Blanc. And then included in that was Viola Davis in the starring role of the Woman King from Gina Prince Bythewood, getting outstanding notices, feeling like the female gladiator. Movies kick butt this year. Listen, I think we're going to have a very top-heavy year. Fabelmans is Oscar catnip. Paul Dano, Michelle Williams. We already walked out of that screening, and we were like, signed, sealed, delivered. I guess she's winning an Oscar this year. Wow. 9 months pregnant fits in with this like theme a lot of actresses do over the last 20 years. But Glass Onion from Netflix, I believe, should be their leading pony in the awards race. It's way more accessible, it's fun, it's funny, and 2 hours and 20 minutes flies by. And you know how I feel about run times. If you're saying
that, that means something.
It
because
works.
You despise long movies.
And then Woman King, Viola Davis, 56 years old, became an action star before our eyes. And included in that, Lashana Lynch, kicks butt, takes names.
I cannot wait to see it. That comes out today, hits theaters, and I'm sure that Netflix is happy with the good reviews coming out of Toronto for Glass Onion, because we know that was a major deal. Hundreds of millions of dollars that they paid for both of those sequels. I'm so happy that you're back. You had awesome coverage at TIFF, at Telluride. I'm excited for Oscar season now.
We're here.
I mean, the Emmys just ended. We're already talking about Oscars.
Well, listen, one season ends, another one begins. We'll be here all season long.
Yes, and you, as always, will have all the Oscar scoop right here on The Take, and we'll see you next Friday.
Thanks for watching.